Well, here we are. I'm talking to you in 2025 for the very first time. How exciting. There is a whole year ahead of us, that's kind of how it works. But what should you be looking forward to in the world of Paleomedia in 2025? What does that next year hold for us? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you the 14 most exciting pieces of dinosaur and prehistoric animal media. That's video games, TV shows, and films, hopefully coming in 2025. Either way, it's bound to be an incredibly exciting year to be a paleo fan. Let's find out why. Let's kick things off with a video game. Jurassic Park Survival's announcement spurred some of the most overwhelming hype I've seen in this community for a really long time. An adventure game on Isla Nublar, just after the events of the original film, and it says Park in the title. Developed by Saber Interactive, just like the new Turok game, which hasn't made this list, this throwback of a game is exciting not only for that nostalgia factor, but for being a game in the Jurassic universe that isn't a park builder. And that's pretty bloody rare these days. There's been a lot of concern lately that the game has been cancelled, since we haven't heard anything in quite a long time, but I really want to allay those fears. As of today, the game is still listed on Steam, it's still on the Saber website, and most importantly, they've recently been advertising it on gigantic screens in public at Universal. The game is coming, and whilst it doesn't have a release date yet, the fact we've already seen quite a lot of gameplay and there's a new Jurassic film this summer makes a 2025 release very, very likely. Coming to PC and console. Speaking of new Jurassic films, well, this is an obvious one, eh? Jurassic World Rebirth, the 7th film somehow in the Jurassic franchise, I'm so bloody old, is arriving this summer on the 2nd of July. Starring Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey, this new iteration isn't ignoring the old canon, in Jenna Bach for example, but it is an entirely new cast of characters. No Malcolm nostalgia baiting allowed anymore. Rebirth promises a more primal, back-to-basics, horror action approach reminiscent of the original film, and it's actually written by the same writer as the original film, David Coeb. This Gareth Edwards directed film has a few of us quietly optimistic in its direction and some of the hinted at dinosaur designs. Now, whilst we still don't have a full trailer, probably arriving with the Super Bowl next month now, we have been given a drip of images over time highlighting the cast and those rugged environments. Let's veer from Jurassic for now. This next game, The Lost Wilds, is perhaps just as exciting as Jurassic Park Survival. An action horror adventure set in a prehistoric forest with an abandoned research facility and probably a dark spooky secret because, you know, abandoned research facility. This absolutely beautiful looking game not only features these incredible looking environments, but some truly impeccable dinosaur designs as well. Promising dinosaurs and other prehistoric beasties that behave like real animals rather than movie monsters. Sorry JP3 Spinosaurus. The Lost Wilds will put to test your survival skills, your quick thinking, and your ability to wave a flare about like you just don't care like Ian Malcolm. No release date here yet, but we've got quite a lot of gameplay. The game seems pretty far along. I would expect much more on this one throughout 2025. Now, if you ask a paleo nerd to name a dinosaur documentary, there's probably one name that's going to leap to the front of their mind before any other, and that's Walking with Dinosaurs. This 1999 documentary only had 6 parts in its initial run, it got a few spin-offs later on, but it made prehistoric fans of most of us and has loomed large in our collective hearts for 2 decades since. Well, in news that broke the paleo side of the world, we're back baby! A new 6-part documentary due to air at some point in 2025. Walking with Dinosaurs is being rebooted for the modern age and will feature a few confirmed genera and locations as well, such as a Spinosaurus in Morocco, a Tyrannosaurus Rex and Triceratops in North America, and a Lusotitan in Portugal. This is a collab between the BBC in Britain and PBS in North America. Walking with Dinosaurs may not have any images or trailers yet, but it is coming in 2025, that's what they've said. We just don't know when quite yet. Our next game has been going under the radar a little bit, I think. This is Deathground. This is a Left 4 Dead inspired dinosaur horror game, a multiplayer online experience wherein you and a gaggle of fleshy human sacks will have to navigate a host of treacherous environments while being pursued by a litany of ferocious prehistoric beasts, Or even better, you can go it alone and die horribly like I planned to. It looks incredibly atmospheric, cribbing as it is also from the likes of the Alien franchise and Alien Isolation, with these big looming shadows and a motion tracker which, as we know, seems helpful, in reality just makes you much more scared. They've been steadily updating the game and the dinosaur designs across this last year. The trailers aren't necessarily up to date, and as far as I'm aware, they're looking to launch a beta test of the game relatively soon. So again, we have no release date because video games hate release dates, but with a beta imminent, it seems a good bet we'll see the full release of Deathground before too long really. Now whilst Jurassic World Rebirth has been nabbing all the big screen dinosaur attention, there's actually a couple other dinosaur films also due out in 2025. One of them is the big screen adaptation of the novel Primitive War by Ethan Pettis. Set during the Vietnam War, Primitive War follows a search and rescue team called Vulture Squad as they descend into a prehistoric valley in search of their missing compatriots. There's 3 books in this series already, and the last one was a while ago now. There was a fairly recent comic book that showcased the story in all its gory glory. These books, not so much for kids. Directed by Luke Spark, this should be a cool counterpart to the recent direction of the Jurassic films, promising a darker, grittier story with realistic dinosaurs and a sizable amount of torn limbs. No firm release date, but it is due in 2025. Back in the world of video games, Instinction is another absolutely gorgeous looking first-person dinosaur adventure game, featuring 28 different prehistoric animals ranging from Carnotaurus to Smilodon. Instinction though is doing stuff a little bit differently than the Lost Wilds is. Set as it is in a lost Mesoamerican land, you're going to form a blood oath with a local lost civilization and attempt to restore stability to their world. It'll have segments where you control the dinosaurs yourselves, which I absolutely hate, but I know a lot of you love. It's going to have varied biomes, a level up system, and even a museum you can fill as you discover new species. There's a playtest coming soon that you can buy into with a supporter pack, and we've already seen a good chunk of gameplay, although not gameplay that showed off too much, it's what you're watching now. With all that in mind, this is another one that seems almost guaranteed to land during 2025. Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal, and I'm so sorry if I butchered that name, was a bolt from the blue. A lovingly animated, emotionally deep television show that across its 2 seasons so far has become a huge fan favourite amongst the paleo crowd, and even stretching wider than that, even if the final episode did prove a tiny bit controversial for some. Mature and elegant storytelling that artfully balances beauty and violence, featuring a wide range of dinosaurs, no wonder it's proven to be so popular. Tartakovsky has been hard at work on season 3 with 10 more half-hour episodes on the way, and when asked how far along they are at Animation Fest, he said that 2 episodes are basically already done and they're in post-production for most of the others, and that 2025 was a very likely prospect for release. Such work takes time of course, but it sounds like we won't have to wait much longer, well 363 days max I suppose, to see how the next season of Primal will play out. Okay, had to come up eventually. Jurassic World Evolution 3 is the latest in what is now going to be a trilogy of park building games based on the Jurassic Park World franchise. We don't have a firm release date for this one, but we know from materials that the developer Frontier handed out to fancy people, i.e. shareholders, that the game is called Jurassic World Evolution 3, and the plan is to release the title along with Jurassic World Rebirth, which means it should come out, June, July, August 2025. I, and a lot of you watching this, probably expected an announcement or trailer for this one by now, and it does look likely at this point we won't see one until we get a full trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth first, but that's only a few weeks time from now at least. Evolution 3 promises 2 big new features, God knows what they are, and hopefully also promises the return of Cabot Finch. 2025 is seemingly the year of the dinosaur documentary because we've got 2 more to talk about. We didn't get any for years and suddenly they're all over the place. First up is Surviving Earth, an 8-part, hour-long paleo documentary with a much wider focus than just dinosaurs, instead focusing on 8 different key extinction events, mass extinction events, that have taken place throughout time. That means the KPG extinction that wiped out the non-avian dinosaurs, for example, but perhaps also events like the Great Dying, i.e. the Permian-Triassic extinction event that basically wiped the slate almost clean, ready for the Triassic period to take root. People are excited about this one, not only because, well, it's 8 hours of paleo documentary, that's great, but it's being helmed by Tim Haynes, the creator of the original Walking with Dinosaurs series. So there's some really cool pedigree there, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it contrasts with the rebooted Walking with Dinosaurs. This one is out sometime in 2025. We don't have much more information than that, but we'll just have to survive on Earth until then. Yet another beautiful looking first person dinosaur game, and god, it's getting boring having all this stuff I'm really excited to play. Ferocious takes a slightly different angle to the others we've seen though, with this first person shooter giving us a much more old school action heavy focus, featuring yet more beautiful looking natural environments, some speculative but pretty awesome looking dinosaur designs, and thankfully dropping the stupid project word from their title. This game has a solid publisher behind it in Tiny Build, a huge chunk of gameplay already revealed, and a vibe slightly more reminiscent of the original Turok games than with the other games on this list. Not to mention, and you'll see environmentally in particular, a dash of my beloved Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. Also, it seems to have mechs, and I still pray for Titanfall 3 to be announced, so that makes me happy. Again, you know what I'm going to say, no release date, but given the huge amount of gameplay we've already seen, this one is clearly very far along and should be out in 2025. Now, you know what, we haven't had enough dinosaur documentaries. We need more, yes! 3 dinosaur documentaries are coming in 2025, and this is one I didn't even know about until researching this video. Life on Our Planet came out in the summer of 2023, and if we're honest, it didn't stack up with the very best of the genre, the Prehistoric Planets and the Walking with Dinosaurs, but it did offer some absolutely top of the game animation, modelling, and general bringing dead things back to life-ness. Well, Silverback Films, who made Life on Our Planet, have announced that they're making a new paleo documentary, a 4-part series about the rise and fall of the dinosaurs. This as of yet unnamed show will see Morgan Freeman return as narrator, Steven Spielberg return as executive producer, and once again be showcased on Netflix. He is hoping they can tighten up the scientific aspects a little bit more and give us something absolutely top tier this time. I'm going to have to cheat a little bit for this last entry because it's 2 entries in one. Can you believe it? No you can't, you're flabbergasted right now, I can tell. Kyoryu was first announced as an animated series set in a post-apocalyptic Japan wherein genetically modified dinosaurs have emerged again as the dominant life form on the planet. Rendered in Unreal Engine, this absolutely stunning looking show promises some great dinosaur designs and some intense dinosaur on dinosaur action. Wish I hadn't scripted that bit. Now, whilst that's exciting enough in and of itself, they surprised us all by earlier this year announcing they were also releasing a video game that links in with the series. In it, you'll control a juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex, the son of a samurai Rex. This is like 12-year-old me's absolute dream come true. And you'll have to survive intelligently in a world that is just really eager to see you killed. Bringing those same lovely models and fantastical Japan art style to life, Kyoryu is going to make for a hell of a pair of Paleomedia. And whilst we don't have a firm release date, we do have a huge slew of gameplay, it's on Steam, and we've got a full featured trailer for the animated series, so things are looking very promising for a 2025 release. Now there were of course a lot of other great looking titles, particularly in the video games, I could have picked for this list, but I wanted to pick out the very tippy-toppy creamy cream of the top. Which of these 14 titles are you most excited to watch or play? Hell, if you're feeling zany, and I know you are, rank the entire list from 1 to 14, because that's what a zany person would do. If you enjoyed the video, consider throwing me a like down below and subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date on all these pieces of Paleomedia and the countless others that are going to come along the way. Until next time, thank you for joining me, Happy New Year, cheers much love as always, bye bye.